I just found out that my girlfriend, 22F, who is pregnant, cheated on me. The guy she cheated with got into a serious car accident. I am in shock right now. Our relationship started to become strained after the birth of our first child. I found out during dinner with her parents when her phone started going off like crazy. It was from her friends and they knew that she left her phone at the table to grab her coat. After all the commotion, the person she was talking to, some guy named Andrew, called and it started recently. It was recent enough for me to doubt that the child she carries is even mine. I broke her phone when she tried to grab it from me. Her parents threatened to call the police on me. I left with my son. I don't want her in my life and I don't want her to be involved with my children's lives. I am so angry right now. Edit. I want a relationship with my children, not her. I can't be a father long distance. Her boyfriend is brain dead. Her mother told me to have some sympathy. My life is ruined. Edit 2. Most users are assuming I am a US citizen. I am not. Once my contract is up, I will have to leave the United States. How on earth can I be a father if I can't even be with my children? Edit 3. I picked up her phone out of curiosity. Holy crap, I was assaulted when she tried to take it from me. Edit 4. The phone is still with me. I am taking screenshots. I paid for it by credit card. My name is on the contract. Edit 5. Okay, I'll get some therapy, anger management or domestic violence, same thing I guess. Edit 6. I am waiting for her to return before I do anything. I need to video myself leaving my apartment untouched and in peace for my own safety. The next story is titled Update. I-25 per meters. Just found out my pregnant girlfriend, 22F, cheated on me. Her lover died. DNA tests confirmed that I am the father to my son. We spent Valentine's Day together and talked about how we were going to get through this as adults. I'm still hurt, resentful, and unsympathetic to her, but hey, we have a kid. She wouldn't agree to a test for the baby until it was born. I'm trying to play good cop bad cop here. I don't think she is on Reddit, but legally speaking, I'm literally screwed when it comes to custody. I can't go into the details. Her dad eventually collected my son. He wanted his mom. The phone was also returned. It only had a cracked screen. The phone isn't a massive issue. I might reveal why later. Unlike my employment, residence, and immigration status, however, I am advised to make a non-binding agreement with her on custody out of court if possible. The days after my predicament at dinner, I found myself constantly juggling my emotions whenever I met my ex and drinking a lot lately. It's been a rough week with all the texts and calls. Firstly, when she came to collect the rest of her belongings, I had already packed her stuff in bin bags. I made it known that she was trash. I got into an argument with her friends and her male friends clearly intimidated me. Her girlfriend suggested I marry my ex and live separate lives. Where is she getting this advice from? WTF Reddit. I had to threaten to call the police. Because they wouldn't leave, I captured everything on video. A total crap show. Secondly, she wouldn't budge on the fact that I was the father of both of her children. We agreed to a few private paternity tests on our son and that the tests would be carried out after the birth. Her attitude this entire time has always been remorseful, maybe because she believes that I'm abandoning her and the fact that Andrew is dead. Her life is in the crap, but that's on her. Andrew was engaged, and from what I know, his family is not pleased with this little surprise. I can't say I pity her, although it is the worst way to get caught cheating. She explained her relationship with Andrew. I totally feel like a second-string backup. She tried to tell me that she always loved me, however, it's over between us and I don't love her anymore. Finally, Valentine's Day was the worst I have ever had. I thought I would have been spending it alone or with a Tinder date. The ex-girlfriend turned up without asking because she wanted to talk. We went to the place that I had reserved for us weeks earlier and it was such an awkward experience. Got home to another round of major waterworks and drinking. She literally begged me to stay with her and to stay for the kids. I tried to press the idea of the kids living with me. Eventually, we agreed to some relationship counseling so that I would have a mediator to negotiate custody. She tried to sleep with me again when I was in bed. Like WTF, I started shouting at her because she is stressing herself out. Sea levels increased overnight as I slept on the couch. She cried through the night. I can't lie. I can't believe I'm still sexually attracted to her after all this. It's a crap feeling. It's time for me to look into how I'm going to co-parent with her. I need to avoid this going to court. My ex isn't that stable right now, but I need her to cooperate with me. I might update again once something significant happens. It's time for me to go take a long-ass holiday. Edit. Andrew, 28 meters, and my ex have had an on and off relationship before I was in the picture. My friend Jeff, 24M, and I, 24M, suspect that his fiancée Lucy, 23F, has been cheating on him with multiple people since they got engaged, and she's denying it all, convincing him it was planted. He's being gaslighted and has no idea how to process the information. Posting on a side account for obvious reasons, last week my best friend Jeff stumbled upon a chain of emails from his fiancée Lucy with a few guys dating back to December, right before they got engaged. They've been together almost 3 years and have lived together almost the entirety of their relationship. Jeff originally looked at the chain of emails not because he saw a message from a former college friend named Jarvis asking why they weren't talking anymore, but because Lucy replied with "I told you this is how things were going to be from day one" in the text thread. They were talking about finding each other attractive, going on dates, what she should wear, him imagining her in a bikini, and her at a point saying, "I'd rather you make me suck something else." She claimed these messages were all just joking around and how they talk as friends. Since then, she's admitted that in college before she dated Jeff, they once drunkenly hooked up. Jeff has since reached out to Jarvis and found out she's the love of Jarvis's life that got away, and he didn't know that Lucy and Jeff were engaged. Then Jeff found out that Lucy has similar text threads with a few other guys who are all regulars at her work. She's a barista. Keep in mind that despite working relatively close to each other, Jeff was never introduced to these guys. Lucy claimed emails with a guy named Rick were all fake and that he's not a real person. Instead, they were made of texts from before their relationship. Her defense is that those messages were put together after he confronted her about Jarvis to prove that Jeff has trust issues. Then Jeff found texts and Facebook messages with Johnny, who he found out bought her a new phone. Jeff has no proof that anything happened between them, but the last time they hung out, she came back with a $500 phone she claimed she got a good deal on, then admitted she paid nothing for. When he went to find more messages with Johnny, who she's talked to for a while, Jeff would see Lucy talk to him over his shoulder. Nothing dirty was going on, but Johnny was super flirty, and Lucy encouraged his behavior. Keep in mind that if someone called Jeff sexy as a joke, he would get nauseated. Jeff has since contacted Johnny, who said, "I assume you're anxious and wanted to call me because you guys are dating or something." He had no idea they were romantically involved, but swears they are pure friends. That incident justified Jeff's decision to continue snooping, and then he found texts from Ethan. Ethan is a divorced dad who is a regular at her work. Since Lucy found out he lives an hour away, they've planned on going on dates, meeting up, and he's even talked about his fights with his ex-wife. They've also had conversations where Ethan texted something along the lines of, "Jeff follows Lucy like a puppy dog and can't do anything without her. It's pathetic," to which she replied with, "On the contrary, I have all the power in the relationship. It's great." When confronted about this, she excused it all and dismissed it, saying he treats her like a child, so he's treating him like a 12-year-old too, and that this is how the two talk to each other. Then Jeff saw a text about him thanking her for blowing him in the parking lot. Jeff didn't want to read the end of Lucy's texts with Ethan because he was scared to find worse. When Jeff confronted Lucy about the emails with Ethan, she asserted that they were planted because of their trust issues. Then he sent her screenshots from their texts, asking if those were planted too, to which she replied with, "Oh right, it was texts. I forgot." She also stated that the dirty texts with Ethan were between him and another woman, and that she managed to import that convo in the middle of her conversations while setting up her new $500 phone. Keep in mind she's only had this phone for a week, but the texts go back from December. There's no way she forgot she planted these. They were backed up from her old phone to give Jeff assurance that she's cheating. My girlfriend and I have talked to 5 different experts who have all laughed at our inquiry, claiming that it's impossible to plant these texts. They've told us that in order to do so, Lucy would have had to hack into the phone maker server, highly illegal, and she's not tech savvy. To give Jeff assurance that she's cheating, she waited on Lucy to show her how she or Ethan have planted the texts and expected a photoshopped message as proof. She doubled down on her lie that she faked these messages dating back to December, hoping Jeff would see it so she could prove he's been snooping all because of the first confrontation with Jarvis. When they spoke in person, she showed him how she did it, and although I didn't see how it was done, I'm sure it was an illusion since he swore that he saw her copy-paste messages and timestamps. As far as we know, she used a third-party app to look like real messages, and sadly Jeff believes her. Since then, Jeff has found more sexual Facebook messages between Lucy and a female co-worker, including a simulated shower sex scene, which she convinced him was taken out of context. Keep in mind that Jeff's last relationship ended when his ex-girlfriend cheated on him. When he reminded Lucy about that, she suddenly realized how immature the fake message planting was, but still denies any cheating and is begging him back on an emotional level. Jeff would do anything to undo all this damage and fix the relationship. On a logical level, Jeff knows she cheated and has successfully manipulated him. However, she is successfully gaslighting him, leaving him confused and unable to process what the truth is, and he feels torn between his fiance's alibi and his friend's family, insisting he should run. How can I help Jeff make the right decision? A user in the comments said, I think he's going to be in this state of mind for a while, until someone knocks him out of it. When I was dealing with a crazy ex, nothing really made me believe anything was wrong until I told my sisters the stories of our fights, and they were the ones who sat me down and said that it wasn't healthy. At that point, I started to make the decision to leave her. As his friend, I think you can sway him in his decision with all the evidence that's out there. We all know she's been cheating. Boy, would that be a story if she wasn't. And as a friend, I don't think you want to see him in a situation to be hurt again. He's already hurting from everything that she's done, and at this point, it's best to just cut it off. Easier said than done, I know. He's been cheated on again, and that's the end of this story. It's time to cut her out and move forward in life. And in reality, he's still so young, so there are plenty of opportunities to meet the right girl. Another commenter said, when you first deal with someone gaslighting you, it doesn't make sense because you want to trust that they're a good-hearted, normal person like yourself who would never lie or betray their partner. People who don't gaslight will never catch on right away because it's inconceivable to do that to someone. You probably can't save him. He likely just needs more time to catch her on more crap before he finally gives up and leaves. So I say just let him continue course. Maybe just warn him to not jump into having kids with her and to keep protection. Maybe sometimes let your perspective on it slip a little bit. Then, just go back to talking about something else when he finally gets it and musters the courage to leave. And when he finally sees her for what she is, he'll most likely need you for emotional support. So just stay patient and understand that he's battling himself right now and not wanting to give up his love for her. But he'll wake up eventually. Almost everyone does when they date someone like this. Good luck, man. The next story is titled Update. My friend, 24M, and I, 24M, suspect his fiancée, 23F, has been cheating on him with multiple people since they got engaged, and she's denying it all, convincing him it was planted. He's being gaslighted and has no idea how to process the information. It's been a month since I made this post about my friend being gaslit. You're all right, it's hardcore gaslighting. Since then, he's been crashing at our place and ignoring 90% of her texts. He refused to end things without closure and absolute proof, and she still refuses to admit that what she did was cheating. The two met at a cafe with my girlfriend Sally as a mediator. Sally and I have known Jeff for 12 years, and Sally was supposed to be Lucy's maid of honor. After they talked, Jeff went in a loop, saying, I can't do this. I don't want to end things, but I don't want to stay. I can't do this. 4 hours later and no progress, they came home defeated. As Lucy stated, she refused to break up unless he could say it to her face. Since then, things took a turn. Lucy claimed she was pregnant, then that she miscarried. The lies didn't add up, and we convinced Jeff that she made it up to get back with him. Jeff's been depressed, but finally got the courage to end things with her via text message, since he couldn't end things to her face. However, for the hell of it, we reached out to Lucy's first real boyfriend, who, for the record, she claims she walked in on him sleeping with her friend, but refuses to tell her parents the details. I messaged him basically saying that I'm friends with her current so, and there are inconsistencies that need to be cleared up. I asked what caused their relationship to end as her side is unconvincing. I apologized if the message brought back past memories for him, but if it could help my friend see the light, it would be greatly appreciated. 2 weeks later, he replied, asking the reason for infidelity on his end, but with inconsistencies in the story. He replied with the following. It's a long story. I don't know if I can explain all of it, but my side is the exact same, except I had some pretty obvious signs of cheating. I found texts on her phone. She would sometimes disappear for a whole week with a guy on vacation and not respond to me. The reason I broke up with her was basically after finding things on her phone, on top of the stuff I knew she was lying about, I realized how good she was at burying that side of herself. That coupled with the long-distance relationship we had in college, it just wasn't worth it. She will deny everything till the bitter end like she did with me. I found things on her phone, left them open for her, and when I confronted her, she had deleted them and was denying all of them, despite knowing I saw them not a couple of hours ago. I'm not saying she is the same person she was then. I've changed, I'm sure she has, but take things with a grain of salt. Once I let Jeff know about the ex's response, he went what the F and was shocked but seemed relieved that he wasn't going crazy. It gave him more peace at first and the confidence to end things. After this, she appeared at my house unannounced when none of us were home, but my roommate let Lucy know that Jeff wasn't home. This assured Jeff that it has to end. He did so via Facebook Messenger. Since then, he's felt like a victim after researching how gaslighting is a form of domestic abuse. To this day, his friends assure him that he made the right choice, but he still hasn't packed up his things. He also feels like it's not fair that he had to make the decision and end things. He also still can't truly accept the reality and prefers to stay in a loop where he strives for normalcy. As a friend, I don't know how much more I can help, but if Lucy shows up unannounced again, I will call the police. From what I've heard, she won't accept that it's over and believes there's a chance she can win him back. When she's at work, we will go to their apartment and pack up his belongings. Fortunately, their lease is up next month and he knows he can never forgive her, but wishes he never found out. Time is the best way for him to heal, and he is seeing a therapist for his OCD, anxiety, and these relationship issues. My girlfriend, F22, and I, M22, have been dating for 7 years since high school. We have grown up together, graduated high school together, and went to college together. We both got accepted to a large state school, while our friend got accepted to a smaller state school close by. We are all in our 4th year of college now and graduating soon. Recently, while I was away on an internship in a city 3 hours away, my girlfriend cheated on me with one of our close friends who we have known since high school. Initially, I didn't mind them hanging out more, as we had all been friends for so long that I completely trusted him. They started hanging out more frequently while I was gone, and my girlfriend told me that the two of them and another friend were going to spend a weekend at a nearby big city with a fun nightlife. Today, I learned that they got a room in a $500 per night hotel, and it was just the two of them. They had sex, and my girlfriend now swears up and down that she doesn't want to be with him and they only had sex because I've been away. She feels terrible and hasn't eaten or slept in days. I still love her, but I feel cheated, heartbroken, disrespected, and hurt. I don't know what to do. Breaking up with her seems like the obvious choice, but I've never been alone since I was 15, and I don't want to waste 7 years of my life. Moreover, I will be alone in a brand new city until my internship is over. I realize that there are more details, but I don't think they're that important. Please don't give me the usual Reddit answer of all girls are the same or any gross generalizations. I'm trying super hard not to be bitter, and I don't want to hear any of those things. A user in the comments said that it's only because you've been away is a terrible excuse. Does that mean that every time we have to spend some time apart, this will happen again? She is going to feel the need to get sex somewhere else. The details don't matter, it was very wrong, and it seems like you know you should break up with her, but just fear losing something you've been so used to. Change is really difficult, but I strongly suggest you move on. You may feel like you've wasted 7 years, but 7 years later, and you'll have wasted 14 if she does it again. I know it can be scary, but I promise you, it will get easier, and you'll find someone who is completely devoted to you. Don't be afraid to be alone or lose the comfortability you have known for so long. Another user said this brings to mind a logical fallacy called sunk cost, generally the idea that because you've put so much time into something that all that time is to amount to something. Your having been together for so long doesn't mean that you are obligated to consider taking her back. She stepped out on the relationship with a good friend of yours, and it's a breach of trust in a big way. Your having been gone isn't a good reason to rationalize cheating. You're not going to be around all the time, should you have to consider her cheating on you every time you leave for an extended period of time. No, your time together was not a waste. You learn things from every relationship and they change you in a way. You're not the same as you were when you went in, but you don't need her and don't need to worry about being in a new city. You'll be fine, but they betrayed you and you need to do what's best for you. You deserve people who wouldn't hurt you just for a fling. Do what's best for you, but your having been together for so long is another reason why she shouldn't have done it, not why you should be together. The next one is titled Update. My so F22 of 7 years cheated on me, M22, with a close friend. Thank you for all the comments. My post didn't get a whole lot of traction, but I figured I'd post an update anyway. We're broken up and I'm trying to organize a trip to see some friends next weekend. I'm not really sure what to do before then. I haven't eaten much or slept much. I've never been this alone before. I had someone to talk to for the last 7 years. Some friends reached out to me, which was nice, and I didn't cry at work, but I'm still all alone in a city where I know no one. And this is starting to seem like the worst case scenario for the end of a relationship. I guess I have to learn to deal with this now. A user in the comments said, even when you feel like you've lost 7 years of your life, you're only 22. Breaking up with her was a great decision because the excuse "I've only cheated because you've been away" is crap. It actually means, I am going to cheat on you every time you go away. You haven't lost 7 years, you've gained 7 years of experience in relationships and all that stuff, and I'm sure you've spent wonderful moments together. A relationship is composed of two people, and now you've learned how to avoid trusting friends who may spend too much time around your girlfriend. You've lost your 7-year girlfriend, and certainly, you're going to meet a lovable and respectful woman soon. Another user said, this is the perfect time to find yourself. You were worried about being alone after such a long relationship, but now instead of doing things for your relationship, you can do things just for yourself. I know it sucks now, but it will get better. Pick up a hobby or try multiple ones until you find what you love. Meet some people, and that way, when you're ready, you can try dating, but don't rush yourself. I'm sorry about what your ex and ex-friend did, but try to look at the bright side. It hurts like hell, but you will be better off. It's better it happened now and not after you were married and had to split assets, etc. The next one is titled, I, 24M, think my girlfriend, 25F, is cheating on me. The past few days, my girlfriend has been acting a little bit different. She hasn't been returning my texts while we're both at work, and I haven't talked to her until she gets home. She's been neglecting our animals, leaving the litter box a mess, not giving the dogs water. She comes home, and then as soon as she walks in, she showers and changes and says she's going out with her friends. I don't see her unless it's 20 minutes before work in the morning. Even then, she doesn't talk to me except excuse me when she needs something in the bathroom. I asked her what was wrong, and all I get is nothing. I'm fine. The past couple of days she has been getting phone calls, excusing herself and being on the phone for an hour or so. I haven't gotten up the courage to put my ear to the door and listen to what she is talking about, nor have I gone through her phone. The reason why I decided to seek advice is because I took her car to get serviced this morning, and in the car, I saw she had receipts from the drugstore that had a purchase of condoms on it. Red flags flashed because A, we do not use condoms. We're at a stage in our relationship where if we get pregnant, we get pregnant. We've been together since we were 19, and if that happens, we are both ready and willing to step up and be parents. At least, I think we're still there, but to get real, whenever I use a condom, I get hives on my male organ. I have been to the doctor about it, and I've been told I have a latex allergy, so we stopped using those as soon as I got that diagnosis. I wondered maybe one of her friends bought them and left the receipt, but the chances of that happening are slim. Then to make me even more paranoid, I saw she blocked me on Snapchat. I can't see her story and I can't see her score anymore. She's gone out with her friends all the time, and I never had a reason to worry, but before she's always had dinner with me or we've just spent a little bit of time together. Then she goes out with her friends, and then I invite mine over or do some work. I'm scared and not really up for finding out the truth, but I need to know. A user in the comments said, ask her what's going on. It isn't necessary to invade her privacy. Just talk to her, tell her what you've noticed and that it's bothering you. Tell her what your worries are. If she doesn't come clean when you tell her you have evidence that she's cheating on you, there's a reason why she's trying to keep you in the dark. It's likely not a good reason, so it's probably then you could dig around, but always give her the chance to tell you first before you dig around. You don't want to seem like that controlling, paranoid butthole, you know. The next one is titled, Update. I 24M think my girlfriend 25F is cheating on me. So update as of yesterday. I asked her how come she had grown so distant. She didn't give me any sort of answer, so I just asked, is there another guy? I got her to confess she had been seeing a guy she met on Tinder. She told me that I just wasn't the one for her. She got no satisfaction from me anymore and that I was just a weight in her life that kept her down. For the record, I haven't stopped her from pursuing her dream career, even though we sacrificed an income for her to do so. I have always been respectful of her needs and wants. I like to think I have been a decent boyfriend to her. She asked for an immediate breakup because she was going to move some stuff into the new guy's house. I told her that was fine, but she had to get her stuff out at once. I didn't want her to come back 2 and 3 times a week to get her things. She wants nothing to do with our pets, so I am keeping the cat and giving the dog to my mom, who could use some company since my dad passed away a few months ago. It's really hard to see how cold she was, no tears or sense of regret. So tomorrow, Saturday, she is taking all of her stuff in her dad's pickup truck and moving to that guy's house. I asked her how long this had been going on and she said 2 months. It's a little bit nauseating because we had still been sleeping together in that time. I appreciate those of you looking out for me, telling me to use condoms, thanks, but we were doing that natural family planning where she tracked her fertile days and all that, so we weren't going to get pregnant unless we actually tried. I'm sad because this is a woman I've grown to love and essentially have grown with as an individual. I just can't believe how much she's changed over these past couple of weeks. Hopefully, she finds what she truly wants and is happy. Moving update. She left an hour ago and got all of her things. She brought her friend who was also my friend too, and they were packing her stuff but also giggling like a couple of teenagers. All I did was sit and catch up on some emails from work, not paying attention to either of them. After about 3 hours, she had all of her things in boxes. She tried to take some things that were mine, and I told her calmly that she didn't pay for it, so to please leave it with me. I contacted the nice couple we rent our house from, and they were extremely supportive and are letting me change all of the locks, so my buddy and I are going to do that tonight. He is also helping me move my desk and electronics to the spare bedroom, since my ex used it as a closet and storage space. When she left, I finally saw some remorse, but I think she was just being nice to me because she was happy to be going to that guy's house. She hugged me goodbye, and I let her because that's my way of getting physical closure. Whenever she hugged me, she would run her fingers through my hair and she did it for the last time today as she left. I felt sad, but I also felt optimistic because I can now live in peace without carrying the burden of wondering if she is cheating on me. From now on, my life is just me, my family and friends, and of course, my pets. Thank you all for the kind words and encouragement. If anything else happens, I'll try to remember to update, but until then, I'll see you all around. Edit number 2. Well, thank you guys so much for the words of wisdom and support. To answer some frequently asked questions since there are too many responses to reply to individually, I'll post them here after this. I don't have any intentions to ever get back together with her. She made it known who and what she wants, so I am going to put all of my energy towards my job and family and friends. Even if she does come crawling back, I will not have her number and she will have no way to contact me. I wasn't her first boyfriend, but I was her first serious one. We got together when we were 19. I met her while I attended college and she worked at this restaurant just outside of campus. We were each other's first couple milestones, such as moving in together, getting animals together, and giving a good part of our lives to each other. I know there is better for me out there. Thank you guys for picking me up. For now, I will only focus on furthering my career and being the man of my family since my dad passed away in July. When it's time for me to date, I will know in time. I will find the right one, a great one with the suggestions of my friends and most of you. I am going to get tested Monday morning. I don't think there was anything being passed around, but you can never be too careful, so yes, Monday morning, I'm going to make sure nothing is wrong. Edit. I appreciate the advice about how NFP is not a form of contraceptive. I get that it's definitely not something to do if you don't want children. However, before this cheating and sneaking around began, we were headed towards marriage. I was planning on proposing for our 6-year anniversary in January and wanting to start a family right away. For us, in the state of our relationship at the time, and specifically for my latex allergy, we were comfortable with doing that. We were committed to it and had no problems or scares during the 5 years we were doing it. It doesn't work for everyone, so please be careful. Please guys, the last thing I want is to be scolded that I shouldn't have used that method. I'm just looking for some pick-me-ups and kind words. Let's put all that other stuff aside. Thank you. Next story. I'm a 28-year-old male, and my wife is 26. We got married 3 years ago and have been together for 6. When we met, I was already in my 3rd year of college, studying for a specific job in the productive and lucrative oil industry. Think of something like the US Army, where you have a job that sends you to different countries. I would go there for some months to work on extra risky tasks that would pay extra because of it and then go back and stay home for some months. In the beginning, I was going for 6, 8, or even 10 months to promote as fast as possible. This way, I was able to generate an average income of 4 years in my country in only 3 months. It's a tough job and I'm working like a crazy person, but I love it. My wife was supportive during this time and I always knew it was hard for her to live this lifestyle. I always tried to spoil her and compensate for my time spent away from her. I did so by showering her with gifts and luxurious trips to exotic places. 2 years ago, during the virus that hit the world, I tried to come back home after an extended contract, but because the borders got shut down, I had to stay for another 2 months. When I finally got home, the reunion wasn't what I expected it to be. She told me she couldn't take it anymore. She goes crazy while being alone at home and having nothing to do. During the time she was waiting, she lost her job and didn't feel like working again because of it. As I was making good money and wanted to see her happy, I supported her fully. Money wasn't an issue, her happiness was way more important to me. I have to admit, I also felt petrified. The whole situation made it seem like she wanted to break up, but I was wrong. She didn't. She continued by saying how much she loves me. She wants to give me a baby and take care of it for me. She sweetly added, if I have your baby, I can keep a piece of you with me while you're gone on contracts. We decided to go for it. I was back from a 5-month trip without my woman around, so it wasn't hard for me to keep trying multiple times a day, if you get me. Nonetheless, I became increasingly nervous during the first month of trying. Did this mean we were not able to conceive a child? I remembered how we didn't use protection for over 4 years. I would always pull out and she never got pregnant. But the insecurity left one morning when she suddenly woke me up with a long kiss and smile. She takes out a pregnancy test and shows me the result. I was the happiest man alive. Everything changed. I was a man now. I was a father. I was on top of the world. We would go to every doctor appointment together and enjoy every moment of it. When I would be on a project abroad, I would keep up to date by receiving and talking pictures and echo sounds. There were no complications with the pregnancy. The labor was even better. Everything went as planned and it was amazing. We, as a family, were in cloud 9. 1 month later, I went on another contract to make some money that would cover every need for our little baby. Halfway during this contract, I suddenly received a text from my wife, a short and simple text of 4 words that sent me into a dark and deep depression. I want a divorce. She wants a divorce. I didn't understand. We're a loving family that's doing great and I'm going through fire and water to make sure. I tried calling her instantly to find out what's wrong or worse, did something bad happen? But she didn't pick up or answer any texts after dropping this bomb on me. I couldn't get my mind away from the situation at home. I made a request to my company to send me back as an emergency, but it would take some days. It got approved and while I was preparing my suitcase, I received a pulse of her on my phone. We would talk a few days and she would dance around the topic before dropping an explanation for her text. I want a divorce so I can marry the love of my life. The love of your life. Who is this woman? All I knew for sure is that I should go home ASAP. I'm back in my homeland and rush home. When I get there, silence. This is where it sunk in. Nobody is home. The baby was gone. She was nowhere to be found. 2 weeks later, I was in court to settle the divorce. During this, I found out that she had a lover for well over 4 years. This love of her life had been there all this time. She plans to marry him as soon as the divorce is over. With the laws in my country being different, I won't go into detail, but I knew that my first priority should be to invest in a skilled lawyer. My wife went the other way. She didn't seem to care as much by getting a cheaper one. She represents herself by mostly speaking without the assistance of her lawyer. Her story goes mostly as follows. It's true I'm guilty of love and I'm a woman. This man is never home. He is never there. In my country, the law usually favors women, but cheating is considered to be a break of contract. Due to us being married, she was the one at fault. She asked the judge for full custody of the child in order for me to pay child support. I'm saying it this way deliberately, and I was not going to let that happen. After consulting with my lawyer and an accountant, it seems that I only have to pay child support for my base salary. My bonuses won't be included since, in the eyes of the law, those earnings are related to me risking my life. So, the fruits are therefore mine alone. Besides, the company pays way less taxes on bonuses that are related to dangerous tasks. My base salary was around 10% of my income. When she found out that she would receive next to nothing worth fighting for, I gave her the option of taking full custody of the child with a no-contact rule. On top of that, I would never ask her for child support. She agreed in a second. It didn't even take her any struggle. As a mother, she gave up any claim to the child, basically agreeing to get out of our lives. Therefore, we were able to change the birth certificate of the child to me as the father and a blank space for the mother. During the trial, her lover was asked to come as a witness, and the doofus agreed. He is an AliExpress version of Andrew Tate. He clearly tries to be like him, an actual alpha man, but all I could see was him treating her poorly. And it seems to turn her on. He has a pretty good income as he is a small company, which seems to do okay. It's less than half my salary, but it still is a lot for our country. And here's the kicker. He's always home. During the trial, he confessed to cheating behind my back for 3 straight years. He laid claim on the baby, saying it was really his. He is sure of this because he knows that she tricked me into wanting a child and believing it's mine, so I wouldn't be able to find out about her cheating. He acknowledged that he knew of the marriage and that he was aware of ruining the marriage, yet he decided to go through with it. He basically confessed to alienating the love in her lawful relationship, which is punishable by a law or something like that. My lawyer explained to me that the only reason for him to say this was to attack me and make me feel horrible, as it did nothing for their case, but make it worse. At this point, the child situation was already settled and an agreement was signed, but it wasn't over yet. The judge asked my wife directly if she knew the child was her lover's. She was adamant about it and ordered a DNA test to confirm. We came to the conclusion that the agreement wouldn't be final yet and we would wait for the DNA test results. If the child was theirs, I could cancel the agreement and settle the situation another way, as the child wouldn't be biologically mine. When the results came in, we went back to court to discuss the terms of the agreement. The judge went over the DNA results, and the child was biologically theirs. The test confirmed what they said. The judge said that she would allow me to cancel the agreement and settle the situation with my wife in another way, solely on the reason that the child wasn't biologically mine. I said, "No, Your Honor, this child is mine, and I want to keep him." The judge was stunned for a minute, but then she said, "If the agreement is a valid contract, and since you don't want to avoid it, then sir, you are the father, and no one can take that child away from you. In my country, it doesn't matter who the biological parent is, but it does matter who the parent is in the documents." And since he knew he is the father since the beginning and did not come to the hospital to declare it, he automatically cancelled all his paternal claims. It sounds stupid, but it makes sense to protect the idea of a family. If a man recognizes a fatherless child at the hospital, he should not fear that the biological father will come back to protect the value and integrity of the family. Now the divorce was over. I got my baby, and my cheating wife was out of my life. The first thing I did was hire 3 babysitters to work 8 hours a day, so my child has someone to stay with him 24/7. Not so I can go back to work, of course, but so I have time to prepare for my revenge. I started 2 separate companies with the help of an online assistant from India. You can hire them at a low cost, and they do whatever you need online. This guy made 2 professional companies, one in industrial credits, which is a company that lends money to businesses for a lower rate than banks. The second one was like the lover's company, but this one was in the same city as his. Both were made just for one client. My ex-wife's lover. My assistant started sending tons of ads from my credit company to his emails, targeting Google and Facebook ads, etc. I was sure that he knew that if he needed money, this was the place he could lend a lot with low rates. Next, I made a lot of advertisements on the second company, but this company only had relevant machinery, rented space, and only one worker, the cleaning lady. Every time someone would call for the company services, they got the automatic decline message because we were simply overbooked. I could see the phone numbers, and my ex's lover was one of them multiple times actually, and he goes mad every time he got rejected. I imagine it's because he's confronted with how big the competition is. Now, it was time to give him the bait because my company had some problems in the main country. I don't even remember in which country this company was registered. They changed the management and wanted to liquidate some company assets, so the regional manager wanted to sell some of the equipment. When he heard this, he started calling and sending emails to buy them out. The response was something like, "We are an international company, so we can't sell the brand, but we can sell some equipment." It would be illegal for me to sell the company without showing him the accountant's data, which was empty, but it's legal to sell the equipment, which can be sold with a simple contract. He wanted the competition out of his city. He didn't need the equipment, so the manager gave him a deal. If you buy our equipment for let's say 3 times the price, we can say in the contract that we will stop business activities in the city. In just 2 hours, I received calls and emails on my first company for credit for that equipment, such and such. I knew he was out of money because he spent a lot on his future wedding with my ex-wife. I sent him the contract based on our credit evaluation. The equipment is not worth that amount of money, so he will need to give us a guarantee. His company is not allowed to sell any equipment or parts of his company until he pays everything back, and if he is behind in payment for 6 months straight, I get all of it. Also, in the contract, I stated that the credit company will buy that equipment directly. Basically, I just give myself my money, and I made sure every single word of the contract is legal and is a deal good enough for him to take it. Later that same day, he sent me the signed contract. Now, normally he should be able to pay for everything, even if the clients he hoped to get from this company are non-existent. He still should be able to pay if he gives me around 80% of his company income for the next 5 years. Fast forward a bit, on the day of their wedding, I wanted to give them an envelope during the reception. In our country, it's tradition to give money in envelopes as a wedding gift to help the newlywed couple. When he saw me with the envelope in hand, he wasn't mad at all. He started to laugh at me, telling me to get out because I was not invited and they surely don't need my money. I smiled back and told him to open the envelope. He took the envelope and looked inside, then straight into my eyes. He laughed again and asked what it was. I told him with a big Hollywood smile, "I'll see you in court next week. Enjoy your wedding night." Now, you must be bubbling with curiosity about what was in the envelope. I won't leave you in anticipation for long. I'm suing him for child support. As I said before, in my country, if you are aware that you have a child and refuse to go to the hospital to recognize him, you are no longer considered the father. However, you are still obligated to pay child support, and if you try to dodge this responsibility knowingly, it's considered as bad as running away from a car accident scene. Therefore, the child support payments are at an increased rate. He didn't want to pay anything during the first custody trial, so he put up a dramatic struggle, pretending he wanted the child or co-custody because he's the biological father. At that point, I knew I would take the responsibility of my child. While surprising them with the decision of keeping the child as mine was great, dragging the trial and draining him of money was a big bonus. Dragging on the trial created the opportunity of getting DNA evidence of him being the biological father and his self-incriminating declarations. So during the trial for the child support, all the judge needed to look at was the declarations of the first trial. The judge ended the trial with a swift yet painful decision, demanding him to pay 40% of his income, including his company income, for the duration since the child was born until he finishes college or I get married. Guess who didn't manage to pay? And guess who is the new owner of his company now? I don't work anymore, I just run the former company and spend almost all my time with my child. You stayed till the end, which means you're the one I make these episodes for. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate you. Drop a like and subscribe to support my channel.